So continuing on to question 6, it's almost exactly the same as question 5, except for the standard variable overhead rate is $5. Oh, and this is an overhead instead of a direct labor wage rate. But the overhead rate is almost exactly the same calculation as a labor variance summary. It still uses the standard hours and the standard rate. So the standard hours remain the same, 5,000, but now this is a $5 for question 6 for the standard rate. Yep, standard rate $5, and over here $5. So now, since we changed that, we'll have to change our calculation. But this one remained the same. It's still actual was $8.50, actual 4,500 hours incurred. Okay, so now we have 25,000. And 4,500 times $5, 22,000. Favorable or unfavorable. So standard rate's exactly the same. Standard hours was 5,000, but you came in at 4,500. So you came in under budget. That's a good thing. Your manager will be happy with that. And so now we look at 2,500 over here compared to 38,250. And so we have a variance of 15,150. Is this going to be favorable or unfavorable? You should have spent $5 on your labor rate, but you actually spent $8.50, and so that's going to be unfavorable there. So, and this is asking for an efficiency variance again. So our efficiency variance is 2,500 favorable. So we can look at that on the quiz. 2,500 favorable on question 6. In the formula, materials quantity variance, what does AQ stand for? So we're talking about not the accumulated quantity, not the accrued quantity, but the actual quantity. So we're talking about actual quantity, standard quantity, actual price, standard price, things like that. So Magno Cereal Company, so this is asking for materials quantity variance. And so I'll go back to our PowerPoint over here, materials quantity variance. Oh, sorry, a little bit more. Okay, we're there. I'll make this bigger. Okay, so Magno Cereal Corporation uses the standard cost system to collect cost for their crunchy pickle cereal. That sounds delicious. The pickles material standard for each batch of cereal produced are 1.4 pounds of pickles at a standard cost of $3. During the month of August, Magno purchased 78,000 pounds at a total of $253,500. Magno used all these pickles to produce 60,000 batches of cereal. What is Magno's materials quantity variance for the month of August? So this is just a ton of information. Pretty hard for me even to understand. There's a lot of numbers. But just start off, how many units are we making? What are we actually making? So we're making this crunchy pickle cereal. And the pickle standards are in batches. So we're producing 60,000 batches of cereal. What are we making? 60,000 batches? Or in other words, units. But 60,000. And the standards for each batch are 1.4 pounds of pickles. So our standard, remember our standard quantity is in a total amount. They told us 1.4 pounds per batch. So that's on a per unit basis. So we need to times that 1.4 pounds times it by the per unit times it by the number of units. So 1.4 times it by 60,000 is 84,000. 84,000 pounds is our standard quantity. And let's see, it says the standard cost, they just gave that to me, is $3. So we times 84,000 times it by $3 is 252,000. Standard price, like I said before, $3. And then, what did it say for actual quantity? During the month of August, Magno purchased 78,000 pounds for a total cost of $253. So they actually purchased that quantity of 78,000 pounds for a total. They didn't give me the actual price, but they gave me a total amount, $253,500. So how do we solve for that actual price? They gave us a total and they gave us the actual quantity. So just going back to the formula and Algebra 2, you know, AQ times by AP equals the total. We know AQ is 78,000 times by AP, we don't know what AP is, equals 253,500. So if I take that 253,500 divided by 78,000, I will get an actual price of $3.25. So just seeing how we get the actual price and calculating it is a key thing for these formulas. And so a lot of the times what you'll see in the problems is that you are calculating a standard quantity total, and then they give you a total price, what they paid, so the quantity, and then they give you the total price, and so you have to find on the per unit basis for the actual price. So $3.25, actual quantity, like I said, they're 78,000. That I just filled that in from the information given. So if we do that math, 234,000, which is 3 times by 78,000. So now looking at our variances, I have 19,500 unfavorable over here. Just looking at this one, and I say it's unfavorable because I should have spent $3, but I actually spent $3.25. So that's not good that I went over budget. Over here, I look at these difference between this total and this total, and I have let's see, 18,000, I believe. Sorry, I didn't do that math. Let's just double check. 252,000 minus 234. We have 18,000. Is this going to be favorable or unfavorable? So the standard is 48,000, or 84,000, sorry, 84,000, and the actual was 78,000. So that's a good thing that we used less than we were expecting. That's favorable over here. So 18,000 favorable is our quantity variance, and they're asking for, let's see, are they asking for a quantity variance? Yes, they are asking. Magno cereals, they're asking for a quantity variance. So that's going to be our 18,000 favorable. So if we look back at the quiz, you can see 18,000 favorable. Okay, and our very last two questions ask for a rate variance and also for overhead, and a rate variance for labor. And I'll start a new video just so we don't go over time.